Hello and welcome back to another episode of my Minecraft Let's Play series. I've spent over 750 days in this world so far, and over some crazy projects, I've got loads of blocks stored everywhere. And well, I don't even know what half of them are. So in today's episode, I'm going to build a perfect storage room fit to store every block I could ever need for this world. Now obviously last episode, we worked on this whole sawmill area and this little old town. And in between episodes, I've taken that build style and I've just built a bit of a town on the other side just to fill some more space. But the main thing I was doing in between episodes was going around the kingdom and collecting all of our resources and assembling them here, right over by, well, nothing right now. You might ask, Jack, why have you got all these different coloured shulker boxes? And that is just because the colours represent where I got the chests from. So, for example, white is from the farm, orange is from the castle and town, blue is from the mining village, and you get the point. So as you can see, I've got a little hole in the cliff near my chest, and that is because that's going to be the entrance into the storage room, and then I'll transform the cliffside into a gorgeous waterfall which hides away the entrance. So the first thing we need to do then is, like usual, we need to dig a big hole. Because I've only got 2 beacons, one of them in the cliff, I'm going to have to go to my old mine and dig it up. So we just need to take all of this out, and then I don't really know where I want to place it, but I think I'm just going to do it right by the entrance. There we go, so I've got haste 2 set up now. And I'm hoping this is going to reach as far as I want it to go, because we have got a lot of digging to do. With the amount of shulker boxes in those chests outside, I knew I needed a lot of chest space, so I made sure this hole was massive. And I did have to repair my tools a few times, and I did it quite bad really, because I dug the hole and then I realized it needed to be a lot higher, so I had to awkwardly work back down, but we got there in the end. All right, we got there in the end. And we've got a big hole in our cliff, and it's gone a bit too far, but oh well. And as you can see, I decided not to keep any of the blocks on mine because, ironically, I don't have enough storage space for that. As you can see, I've just placed a couple of cobblestone markers, as I think I'm going to plan, before I actually build this thing, where I want my chests, and we're going to place them in. So I'm going to head to the wood farm, and if I can remember how to use it, we're going to get a few stacks of logs and convert them all into chests. So I just need to flick it on. Oh, it definitely works still, all right. Right, I've got 3 stacks and a quarter, so hopefully that should make us enough chests. Let's start off with a stack and a half. There we go. We had to go back and get a bit more wood, but we've got some chests in. And I know I've not got too many chests. It looks like nothing here, but my plan is to label each chest with a certain block type. For example, this one would be stone, and I'd have any shulker box, any block, filled to the brim in here. And I'm planning on leaving these 2 sides empty without chests, because this side's obviously going to be our entrance, and this side I'm saving for something special. So we've kind of laid out where our chests are going to go, so we need to go and get some resources now. My plan is for the build, because it's inside, I'm thinking like a secret lush cave using terrain like, wait for it, this. So I want to use kind of this block palette. So I want to use moss, mossy cobble, tough, stone, andesite, some deep slate. So first things first, we need to find an empty shulker box. There we go. And I'll just dye it red. So I think we'll start with a moss. I think it's easiest if we just head to a lush cave. Let's just fly in this direction. Wait, I've just had a brainwave. I remembered earlier in the series, we built a moss farm. I mean, why would I not use that? And if I remember correctly, it's under the windmill. I was correct. Although it doesn't look like it's working right now. I fixed it somehow. And I'm going to be honest, I just flicked that lever and that lever about 100 times until something happened. So I think I'm going to leave that to do its thing whilst we go and get some of the other resources. And we'll start at our mining village quarry because we need stone, tough, deep slate, and andesite. And I think we'll just tunnel this way for a bit. At this point, I really wish I started keeping some of my materials, but thankfully we should already have enough stone from what we saved, so mainly we just need deep slate and tough. Right, I think this is far enough. We've not got miner fatigue anymore, but we've got plenty of deep slate, and for some reason a lot of diamonds and redstone, which we don't really need, but nonetheless. Right, and I've just got lost in a bit of a cave because I need some tough, and it's not really an enemy strip mine, so we're just going to spend some time mining all of this out and getting plenty. Because we've got 2 projects coming up now. Right, there we go. That's looking much better. And I'm back because I know I've got a lot of stone here, but I've just realized after I've done all that mining, I do actually have loads of shulker boxes with resources in. So surely one of these has some materials. Right, and I've just had a look through the rest of them. This has got plenty of cobblestone, which we can use with our moss when that's ready. This has just got a bit of everything, so that's good to know. And this is important because it's got the soul sand, muddy mangrove roots, and other parts which make up the river. And that's given me an idea, but you'll have to wait and find out. So we almost have everything we need now. I'm just going to go collect our mossy cobble, and then I'm going to come back with some spruce as well. And then I think we can start terraforming this place. And I've actually just come back down to the mines because I've just had a really good idea. If I'm building a lush cave, I need some lush items. So let's grab some dripstick. I'd like to get some glowberries that we can dangle down from the roof. Definitely like whatever they are, spore blossoms. I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. There we go. I've got a dedicated lush box now. So we've got plenty of moss, in which I'm just going to take and craft with some of our cobblestone. Make our mossy cobblestone. And there we go. We should have everything we need that I can think of. So I think it might be building time. So let's grab our blocks. Those ones and those ones. And let's just relocate them down here. But let's start with our chests. And I'm just going to make barrels. And I'm going to replace each cobblestone with a barrel. And then I think we're just going to pillar up a couple times with some spruce logs. And of course, we're going to strip them. Then we need a lot of spruce trapdoors. A lot of oak signs. And actually, I've had an idea. Give me 1 second. Right, we're back. I've got 40 lecterns and 10 campfires because what I'm thinking is, if I run some lecterns along here, place some campfires on the top, and we'll put them out. Run our trapdoors along with our signs and some torches. I think that makes for quite a good little frame. And then what we'll do, we'll take this out because that's where we'll put our blocks eventually. So right now, we just need to do the rest of these. Right, that's that bit done. And I know this looks really bare and there's not many chests, but by the end of the video, you'll be very surprised. So now we just need to deal with all this open space, which, now that I look at it, is quite a lot. And like we said, we're going to do like a little lush cave vibe. So I'm going to grab some stone and I'm just going to plant a bit of cliff. And I'll start with the entrance here, I think. So I've just kind of brought it all across and I'm just going to pillar these up. Let's say 4 for now. I'll do this one 5. There we go. I think something like that's already a good start. However, obviously that's very empty and there's a reason I got all these blocks. So let's just grab our colouring and let's just slap a bit of colour on this. It would not be a lush cave without a bit of green. There we go. I think that's a good little start. So let's just quickly turn all of this floor into something better than stone. And I think we're just going to do this whole floor with something like coarse dirt. And then maybe later on we'll come back in with some packed mud and we'll do like a little path. And thankfully this chest has come to our rescue. I'm not sure we'll have enough coarse dirt to fill the whole place in, but we can always get some more. And it's a very painful job, but it's necessary and it makes the place look 10 times better. I tell you what, that makes all the difference. But for now, we have got a lot of terrain to do. So, I think it's time we jump in a time lapse and get this terrain done. We're almost done now. We've literally just got the roof of this terrain bit to do. And then we can start to focus on a bit of actual detail. And I've just fallen. Alright, we are making sweet progress. But as you can see right now, it's very empty. And currently the light block is glowstone. But step 1 is I want to make this place look a lot more lush. So first things first, I'm going to grab some of these moss carpets. And straight away just cover this up. Just because right now that's a big patch of stone. Perfect, that's much better. Now, I think in terms of lighting this place, the glowberries I obtained earlier will make a great light source for the roof and just the whole place. And then with some scaffolding, I'm going to place 2, a leaf and a wall. Just so it's a fairly different shape, but it still looks, you know, kind of dangly. Perfect, so I can remove that and that lights there up. So now I just need to add about 100 more of them. Not actually 100. And I want to make sure they're all long enough and no particular height or order. I'll do a couple more up here and we'll bone meal it all.
1 eternity later.
That makes the place so much better. So we can now just remove all of the stupid glowstone we placed. This is really satisfying though to see it all starting to come together. And there is still a couple patches of dark places, so let me just do probably a couple more. Alright, okay, we're getting there. It's still not lush enough though yet. I think now we should chuck... Do we have any grass? Not in these chests, no. Let's get plenty of grass. And then we're just going to place grass all over the moss. And I shouldn't need too much, to be fair. Just a couple stacks will do. There we go. Almost 4 stacks. That's plenty. Right, and then if I just come along here and place that everywhere, we are definitely getting somewhere now. Right, I think it's time we get another color in here. And by that, I mean the color blue, aka waterfalls. As you can see, I've left this kind of enclave here in which I want to run a nice waterfall down and maybe like a river leading into a little cave, which will just be blocked off. We might have a few dangling down here, a few dropping down here. But it's all good saying that. We need some buckets. Thankfully, all of my blocks are somewhere in here, which means iron could be in any of them. I did not think this through very well. Ooh. I'll keep hold of that, actually. Packed mud. There we go, iron. Bob down here and get some water. Right, so I'm thinking one in here first. And I've just got a couple stacks of mud. And I'm just going to use this mud as like a background for the water. There we go. That's obviously one. We'll have a big one here. Another one there. Let's get a nice big one here. There we go. That's already starting to make a difference. So we'll just chuck a few more little ones on quickly. There we go. I'm liking that. We've just chucked on a few small ones. It's now time for the big boy. Place a few temporary torches. And I think first things first, I've got a bit more mud. So let's just replace the background. I think we're going to need even more mud if we do like a little river. Right, there we go. So I just need to run a bit of water down here now and let fate take its course. Oh, that looks nice. I just want to add a few of my sea lanterns or even glowstone just hidden behind so that there's a bit of light radiating from this. There we go. That is perfect. So I think now it's time we just run like a little river down here and maybe we'll make like a little cove. And thankfully we have got everything we could ever need to build the river, making it a lot easier. Obviously, first we need to dig out a bit of a path. There we go. I think that's a nice little shape. And let me just clear some of this rubbish. Oh, my days. So let's find... I could do with a bit more spruce than that, really. Where can I spawn a bit of spruce from? Cannot wait until this is all organized. There we go. We know the drill by now. A few stairs and slabs. Change of plan, actually. We're going to remove this layer first so that we know what we're working with. I'm glad I've not removed that beacon yet, actually, because that is a lifesaver. Right, there we go. Now that that's cleared, let's take our riverbed materials and just get a few of these placed. I do not miss the days of terraforming that river, I tell you now. Well, there we go. That's that in. So now we can take our spruce components and chuck some of this on. Okay, so the river's all cleared. And in terms of coves, as you can see, I've just made a little carving with some black concrete. And I've just made another pair of shears because before we continue, well, we need some mud anyway for the river floor. But I want to get some lily pads. So what better place to come than the swamp? And actually, we'll get some seagrass as well. Ooh, these have given me an idea. Come here, fishies. Yo! Back to what I came here for, though. Some more lily pads, bit of seagrass, and some mud. So step one, we need to replace this floor. Then we can unleash some fish and some water. And I'll make a little infinite water source. I wonder if they can breed. And we'll also allow this water in now. Place all this to mud. And we just need to place this the whole way down. And I think I've got some sea pickles somewhere in one of them shulker boxes, which I can maybe use to light this river up. Which could be quite nice. Oh my days, the fish is escaping. What on earth is going on right now? There we go, that's all of that waterlogged. So let's get our seagrass and our lily pads. There we go, get all this in. Then our lily pads, get plenty of them in there. I tell you what, I'm bloody loving this. This is awesome. I think now we're just going to chuck a little path on and a couple of bridges. And we definitely need a way in and out of here because right now, there's no hope. Right, so I've got 2 stacks of packed mud and I'm just going to quickly lay some paths and then we can work out where we want to do bridges and ways in and out of this place. Right, the paths are in and I've identified 2 little spots for a bridge. So one here and one here. I think I'll just do some trapdoors and some slabs. A nice, easy design. And then we'll go under in a sec and place some walls, supports. Place some there, and we'll place one there. And then I'll just finish it off with some signs just for a bit more curvature. Right, perfect. I think we're almost done in here. We just need a way in and out, which I'll do about here, I think. And my plan for this is just a simple scaffold, like we've got over at the mining village. So with our stairs and trapdoors there, some fence supports, close all these and put a ladder on. Might just turn a bit of this into mud, I think. Right then, so we'll clear the inventory later and a bit of work around here. I think we're done. So we've got our secret little entrance. We walk through like a little mine shaft kind of restored area, bit of a workshop, and out looks our awesome storage room. I do need to sort out which blocks I want, but nonetheless, I think there's just one thing we're missing, and it's something bigger and better to catch the eye. That got me thinking, one new colour, and above this storage room, we have a cherry blossom biome. And if you know where I'm going with this, let's just say we need a lot of these, quite a few of these leaves, and a trunk material, so that we can build this bonsai tree. Now, as you can see, I didn't end up using the cherry logs for the base because I thought it was too purpley. So I've gone for a mix of dark oak and terracotta. But I think by doing this and sneaking a bit of light in the tree, it adds a nice focal point and completes our storage room. And you can't forget the pink petals on the floor. There we go. I think we're almost done. We've just got one thing left. As you can see, I've got 2 chests here with a bunch of different items, and these are each going to be a symbol for a different chest. So I'm going to start with all these, and by placing them along, it'll just allow me to symbolize which chest is which. So for example, this there now is everything oak. I think you get the point. So we can remove that chest now, and we'll just do the same on this side. But I think by doing that, I think we're done. We just need to move everything in now, which is going to be arguably the most painful bit. And oh my days, we're going to be here a long time. Right, as you can see, I've moved every single shulker box we've ever owned. And they've all got absolute loads of blocks in. So we could be here for a while, to say the least. So without further ado, I'm going to go and put all this back. And then we'll regroup and we can start to work on the outside. The final shulker box is empty. And we've just got one inventory left of blocks. And these chests are rapidly filling up already. The final 2 items are in. So that means we are complete. Let me just grab all of my stuff back. Put that in the shulker box chest. The storage room is done. And I am so pleased with how this has turned out. But we are not done yet because this is currently just a really ugly hole. We've got an entrance, but we don't have any way in and out, theoretically, without our elytra. So we need to transform this whole cliffside into a gorgeous waterfall with a completely accessible way to walk on foot to our storage room. So I think we need to build this waterfall first, and that is going to require a lot of terraforming, in which thankfully, because of this storage room, we have plenty of blocks to work with. So hopefully this waterfall should be a bit easier. And to help me with building this, I am just going to head over to our sheep farm, which we built in one of our earlier episodes, and I'm going to grab plenty of blue wool and a decent bit of light grey wool, and actually maybe also some magenta. It's now time to plan it out. I'm thinking blue will be the water, light grey will be terrain, and magenta will be path. So I think I'm going to first come in with my blue wool. Realistically, we're going to need to have like a pool of water around the top, and I might do a few of those. And I think starting with this waterfall, I'm just going to bring it down, all the way down to the riverbed. I'll do the same here, bringing it down again. Connect that probably 2 ways maybe, for a bit of variation. And we're just going to do the same again, coming from that pool, connecting back up to the one we've just made. Okay, I think that's good for the water. Probably chuck a rock here maybe. I want to spread them out a little bit, so I'll probably do a couple around here. Maybe 1, 2 down there, and just a few more dotted about everywhere. This plan is definitely likely to change. And then most importantly, the magenta path, I want to lead coming down probably this way. Some rope bridges would be cool maybe. Keep on bringing it down, potentially coming over, up to our main entrance. There we go, so that's our plan. And I know that might look very messy, but in my head, I understand it. I think first things first, I'm going to do all the terraforming, so the rocks and the grass, so that I know where I can kind of shape my water. That'll make it a lot easier for me. And then we can come back in once the water and the rocks are in and do our walkway. And I've just had a thought, actually, maybe with this magenta path, we could lead it coming up and around, like a pretty cool bridge coming over here, which will link back up to our main area and eventually to our final project. But before I get distracted with something else, let's gather some resources. Let's dump all this remaining wool, and we'll grab a couple of empty shulker boxes. And for the terrain, definitely need a lot of grass, so let's take a shulker box full of grass. Might take a bit of coarse dirt, why not? So that's the blocks for the hill, and then we need a few blocks for the stones. So mossy cobblestone, as everybody's learnt now, is one of my favourite blocks to use for terraforming. And then let's come over to our stones. Let's get a fair bit of tuff, a lot of andesite, and a lot of stone. There's just one more thing I want to grab, and that is a stone cutter and a crafting table. And I think the easiest way for this is to work from the top and work our way down. Maybe if we get bored, we could turn this into a nice little oasis area. I don't know, I feel like I'm just giving myself more and more jobs. But nonetheless, let's get terraforming. There we go. So the basic terrain is done. Just pick up my bed. So now we need to deal with the water. And the best way to do it is I've emptied that shulker box. So let's head into the storage room if I can find the entrance. And let's see how much mud we've got. Ooh, a nice amount. That should do the trick. I grab a few water buckets. And as you can see, I've kind of done the terrain very weird in the fact that I've kind of left the space because I thought, what's the point in doing all this if it's just going to get buried by a river? So I'm just going to take out a nice big section here for the first pool. And then with our mud, we just need to replace the whole bottom floor. And I can see us having to go back to the mangrove swamp to get some more mud, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. There we go. So this is kind of the beginning. And then what we'll do, once we've got this whole waterfall done, and hopefully run it the whole way down. But I think now I'm going to quickly go and do the rest of the waterfall beds and the pond beds, and then we'll regroup and we'll put some water in. So I'll catch you on the flip side. Right, there we go. That took a lot longer than expected, but we got there in the end. And we've got our little cave entrance coming around here, which will be cool because we'll be going underneath the waterfall. It's now time for the most satisfying bit. I've got my water bucket, so I'm just going to make a little infinite water pool here. And it's time to watch it flow the whole way down. And our first issue is here. So theoretically, if I just block all that, okay, that should have fixed it. Let's see. That looks about right. Obviously, it's still very incomplete, and that needs to all disappear. But we now just need to make sure this goes everywhere. Now, I'm glad I made an infinite water source for this, because otherwise this would take forever. And there's definitely plenty of water to place. And there's definitely a fair few issues, but these are easily getting fixed. It is really nice watching the water flow the whole way down and seeing our progress really come through. I must admit, working with water gets worse and worse every time, as this is taking way longer than I thought. There we go, so the water's done, and I've just got a few mossy cobblestone stairs instead of dark oak. And I'm just going to quickly go around framing some of this, just because, well, why not? And then once we've done this, we just need to do a bit of seagrass, stuff like that, and then we are done with a water stage. Right, where's that stupid seagrass? Sea pickles, that'll do. Seagrass, there we go. There's not much, but it should do the trick. We can place all this, and then we're done. As you can see, I got a little carried away. I put a few drip leaves in, but we'll worry more about up here later. But let's just look from afar. Wow, that is looking good. We've got all of our seagrass in. We've got the water running down. We've got our ponds at the top. This is turning out really nice. So now, we just need to deal with this path. And to do that, I just want to grab some mud, assuming we have some left, packed mud, that is. Oh, we've got plenty. Put that in there, and then we'll get some spruce for some bridges. I don't remember having this much, wow. And some jungle. Also grab some torches. And that should be everything. So I think we'll just start by clearing some of this wool because we kind of know where our path is now. And then with some stairs, I think I'm just going to run them down in no particular order, like so. We'll take our packed mud, replace that one, and I guess this one. I'm just going to get some coarse dirt quickly. And then I guess we just keep bringing this down up to our first bridge location, which is here. Let's just grab some spruce, convert that all, use slabs, use stairs, use fences, and I think I'll just bring it out all the way up to here. Something like that, and then we just need to bring all the fences down. I think we might need a few more. Right, we're getting somewhere already, which is nice. I think we just need to bring it a bit further down now. Right, we're definitely getting somewhere. This is looking really nice. I'm just going to add a little rope bridge here, and then I think we're done. So if I place 2 stairs there, and then we'll place a couple of under slabs. And then I think we're done. With the paths at least. There we go. As you can see, I've brought it the whole way down. And most importantly, you can follow it along over rope bridges and ladders. Up behind the waterfall. I've missed a block. I've missed 2 blocks. Up to our storage room. And then we just need to green this whole place up. Feels good knowing that this is almost done. And I'm just kind of placing them everywhere in no particular order, really, because that's what we do around here. This is really coming together nicely. So I think the final thing we need to do is deal with kind of up here, really, because these paths don't lead anywhere, and I want to connect them to the mainland. So I'm thinking maybe like a little bridge over here. But I do just want to make this area a little nicer. Maybe a couple of custom cherry blossom trees. We'll do like a little fence. Maybe even a pagoda or something could be cool. Let's just terraform a bit of this place. I'm just going to remove this whole layer because I'd like to start fresh, really. Also, get rid of these annoying petals, which, don't get me wrong, they look lovely, but fill this hole in. There we go. That's all flattened out. Now we can start at square one. Get a nice little shape coming around here. My inventory is getting full to the brim with these petals. And we'll just plant a few of these saplings, like we said we would, because I seem to have destroyed about half of them. And in terms of this gazebo, I'm thinking just a very simple canopy, in which we'll put some campfires on and light them out. Make sure they're all taken out. And then I'm thinking just like a bell or something. This could be looked at as a sacred bear, a statue. I don't know. I'm waffling at this point. That'll do. With some spruce fences, I'll just add a bit of light into this place. And instead of those big, massive, mossy cobblestone walls, I've just got some andesite walls because I just want to lightly run nice wall coming down here to give the fact that this area is cleaner and more well-maintained. There we go. Something like that's good enough. Right, I've got an inventory full of materials here, so let's line this fence up with a lot of leaves. And then I've got a few of these flowers because they blend in nicely with the background. Put all our grass in like normal. And a few ferns to add a bit of shape and colour. There we go. This place is done. I know it's just a bit of a space filler, but it works nicely and tops that area off for our main bit all the way down here. So I'm just going to empty these shulker boxes really quick, and then we'll have a quick look at this bridge. Right, so I'm back where I think we're going to build this massive bridge here, and I've just assembled 2 shulker boxes worth of loads of materials. So the plan is with this bridge, I want to kind of make a little arching shape with a nice flat bridge, and then that'll connect our waterfall and storage, setting us up nicely for our final episode over here. Well, I'm going to stop talking and start building. There we go, we finished the bridge, and I think it's functional. Let's find out. Yeah, we can walk across it. I've just linked that up to the main area and set ourselves up nicely for next episode. And I think on that note, we're going to call it here. First of all, if you've got this far, I want you to comment down below, secret. So obviously we've got our brand new massive bridge, which comes all the way up here through a nice little kind of garden, nothing special. Down all our stairs, across our rope bridges, under the secret waterfall, into this lush cave, in which has all of our storage needs. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.